Hello students, this is Pooja Mishra from RDPS. Our today's topic is from class 8 chapter 5 history when people reveal 87 and after. In the previous chapters we had discussed about the policies of the East India companies and the effect they had on different peoples. So the policies of the company were affecting the kings, queens, peasants, landlords, tribals, soldiers or sepoys. So in this chapter we are going to learn how the people resist or try to stop the policies and actions that harm their interest or go against their sentiments. So as the result of these new policies and the revenue systems, since the mid 18th centuries, the Indian rulers were gradually losing their power. So the power and authority of Indian kings started deteriorating, means falling, due to the policies of the Britishers, such as appointing of residents and doctrine of lapse. So Lord Wellesley bring the concept of residents, and these residents are the British agents and they are interfere in every matters. And Lord Dalhousie introduced the policies of doctrine of lapse. So according to these policies, if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse. That means that is become a part of a company territories. So in this way, Lord Dalhousie annexed many states with complete disregards of the age-old traditions that the adopted sons could inherit the throne. So in 1801, Awadh was one of the last territories to be annexed. A subsidiary alliance was imposed on Awadh, and in 1856 it was taken over. So Governor General Dalhousie declared that the territory was being misgoverned and British rule was needed to ensure proper administration. But the many Indian rulers tried to negotiate with the East India Company to protect their interest. For example, Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi and Nana Sahib tried to persuade Britishers for not annexing their territories, because the Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi wanted the company to recognize her adopted son as the heir to the kingdom after the death of her husband. And Nana Sahib, the adopted son of a Peshwa Bajirao II, asked the company that he should be given the pension when his adoptive father died. But the company refused to accept these requests. Awadh was annexed on the basis of the maladministration. The next, the company even began to plan how to bring the Mughal dynasties to an end. So the name of the Mughal kings was removed from the coins minted by the company. So now let's move to the problems of peasants and sepoys. In the countrysides, peasants were burdened with the heavy taxes. If they are failed to pay the taxes, so their lands were taken away from them due to non-payment of tax. On the other hand, the Indian sepoys in the employ of company also had problems. They were unhappy with their salaries and allowances and conditions of service because they were forced to follow the rules which were against their religious beliefs. So did you know that in those days many people in the country believed that if they crossed the sea they would lose their religion and caste. So when in 1824 the sepoys were told to go to Burma by the sea route to fight for the company, so they refused to follow the order. But they are agree to go by the land routes. So they are severely punished, and since the issues did not die down, in 1856 the company passed a new law which stated that every new persons who took up employment in the company's army had to follow all the company's policies. So now the Indian sepoys turned against the company. So now the Britishers believed that the Indian societies had to be reformed, means to change a system, to improve a system. So the laws were passed to stop the practice of satis and to encourage the remarriage of widows. And after 1830, the company allowed Christian missionaries to function freely in its domain and even own land and property. So in 1850, a new law was passed to make conversion to Christianity easier. This law allowed an Indian who had converted to Christianity to inherit the property of his ancestors. Many Indians began to feel that the British were destroying their religions, their social customs, and their traditional way of life. So because of all the reasons, mutiny becomes a popular rebellion. Mutiny means a revolt among a group of peoples to oppose or to change an organization, means when soldiers as a group disobeying their officials in the army. So a large number of Indians developed a feeling that they had a common enemy and they should rebel against them. So a mutiny was faced by the Britishers in 1857. So the sepoys mutinied in several places beginning from Meerut, and a large number of peoples from different sections of societies rose up in rebellions. So such a situations developed in the northern parts of India in 1857. So one question is here, what was the reasons of this mutiny and how sepoys mutiny took a place? So now let's see. On 29th March 1857, a soldier Mangal Pandey was hanged to death for attacking his officials in Barakpur, and after some time sepoys at Meerut refused to use the fat greased cartridges, so 85 sepoys were sentenced to the 10 years jail for disobeying their officials. So this was happened on 9th May 1857. So on 10th May, the soldiers marched to the jail in Meerut and released the imprisoned sepoys. They attacked and killed the British officials, and after then they had declared a war against the Firangis. So now the soldiers were determined to bring an end to their rule in the country. But who would rule the land instead? So the soldiers had an answers to these questions. The Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. So the sepoys of Meerut marched all night and reached Delhi in the morning. And the sepoys then gathered at the Red Fort and demanding to meet the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. He was proclaimed as the leader of the revolt. So the sepoys and rebellion chiefs proclaimed their loyalties to the Mughal Emperor. Proclaimed means to declare or to announce the Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader. Initially, the aging emperor was not ready to be a part of the rebellion, but finally he accepted this. And then after, he wrote letters to various kings to organize a confederacy of Indian states to fight the British, and many kings and local leaders joined him. So this single step taken by Bahadur Shah Zafar had a great implications. After then, the revolt spread to many regions. After Meerut and Delhi, the revolt spread to Kanpur, Lucknow, Jhansi, Gwalior, and the people of the towns and villages also rose up in the rebellions. So Nana Sahib, the adopted son of a Peshwa Baji Rao II, led the revolt at Kanpur, and he declared that he was a governor under Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. In Jhansi, Rani Lakshmi Bai joined the rebel sepoys and fought the British along with Tatya Tope, the general of Nana Sahib. Now after then, many new leaders or the local leaders joined this revolts. So the Virjis Qadar, the son of Awadh king Wajid Ali Shah and Begum Hazrat Mahal, also lead this revolt in Lucknow, and Rani Avanti Bai Lodhi lead this revolt in Ramgarh. Bakat Khan lead this revolt from Bareilly, and Kunwar Singhs lead this revolt from Bihar. This revolt started by the sepoys in the form of mutiny. After then, the king joined this revolt, and then local Nawab also joined this revolt. So the revolt was widespread in northern part of India. So the Britishers decided to fight back with all its might, and company brought reinforcement, means extra peoples and equipments from England and Britain. Laws were passed to convict rebels easily, means to prove or to declare a guilty rebels easily, and Delhi was recaptured by Britishers in 1857. And the last Mughal ruler Bahadur Shah and his wife were sent to the prison of Rangoon, where the king died in 1862. So the recapture of Delhi, however, did not mean that the rebellion died down after that. People continued to resist the battle of British. So the British had to fight for 2 years with the help of reinforcements from England and Britain. So now Lucknow was taken in March 1858. Rani Lakshmi Bai was defeated and killed in June 1858, and Tatya Tope escaped to the jungles of central India and continued to fight a guerrilla war with the support of many tribals and peasants leaders. But finally he was captured and killed in April 1859. So finally British took control over lost palaces and also tried their best to win back the loyalty of the peoples. They announced rewards for loyal landholders would be allowed to continue to enjoy the traditional right over their lands. The hundreds of sepoys, rebels, nawabs and rajas were tried and hanged. Aftermath of 1857. So the British had regained the control by 1858, but they also realized that changes in administrations were necessary if they wanted to rule India. So the important changes were: first one is the Act of 1858 passed the power to crown, means the British Parliament passed a new act in 1858 and transferred the powers of the East India Company to the British Crown in order to ensure a more responsible management of Indian affairs. Second one, Governor General was now known as a Viceroy. So that is the personal representatives of the Crown. Third one, the kings were allowed to rule but under the supremacy of Queen of Britain. Fourth one, the ratio of British soldiers increased in the British Army. That means it was decided that the ratio of the Indian soldiers in the army would be reduced and the number of European soldiers would be increased. Some other changes also be there, like the British decided to respect the Indian cultures and social practices of the peoples in India, and policies were made to protect landlords and zamindars and give them a security of rights over their lands. So thus a new phase of history began after 1857. So now our chapter 5 history has to be completed. In next class we will discuss about in our next chapter. Thank you.